What you're about to experience are my opinions and truths. I'm suggesting they're possibilities for you to consider, in which you can then come up with your own logical conclusions. And a mighty big welcome to all the fellow decoders, male and female, out there around the world, wherever you are. My name is Logan, and this is Decode Your Reality, and today we're going to be breaking down and decoding the Superstar, otherwise known as the Jesus Christ Superstar. You know, there was a Broadway play that came out in the 1970s. We're going to be covering that. But, folks, I have another gem. This one is one for the record books. I think so, anyway. And I'm going to be bringing out some information that I think you have never seen before. So I'm excited. I'm really jazzed for this one. Just, this image here has been in the mainstream for so long, with the crown of thorns. What does that mean? Well, it's corona and the crown. We know that. It's tied to the sun, of course. The circle behind the head of the Christ in this photograph is a representation of the sun and the zodiac signs 1 through 12, maybe even including the Ophiuchus number 13. We're going to be getting into that as well, because that 13, oh boy. But make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this one will be for the record books. And as I always say, the time you spend will be well worth the time you spend on this presentation. So put on a pair of headphones, block out the outside world. This one's going to pop some navels, as I like to say, for some fun. So here we go, folks. Here are the topics for this presentation of the Superstar Decoded. In the zero position, of course, the intro, which is what I'm doing now. Kind of talking a little bit about what this is all about. Number one, Broadway. That's right, we're going to be getting into the Broadway play in the 1970s. Number two, the actual title of the decode, Superstar. Of course, Superstar. What's the star? The sun. Hello. That's kind of a no-brainer. Number three, the Christmas Kid. And number four, always love to hear what you saw during this presentation. What did you see? Trying to keep these a little more condensed, although I have no idea how long this one's going to go. But I wanted to keep this one kind of rather condensed. So here we go, folks. Here we go. Let's get into the first topic, called Broadway. And here it is on Time Magazine from the 1970s, October. Jesus Christ Superstar rocks Broadway. I mean, you could be decoding the word Broadway. Of course, it's in New York, where Hell's Kitchen is located at. It's kind of humorous once you start to see this code. You just kind of laugh and laugh and laugh. So here's a shot from the theater that it was, I think, originally held at, the Mark Hellinger Theater. That's what I got from the tabloids anyway, in Wikipedia. This is the first theater this Jesus Christ Superstar was held at. And, again, it's the humor of this reality, because God is a stand-up comedian, make no mistake about it. Mark Hellinger Theater is a 67. Going to that number, empire.com, and of course, number 67, as most of you should know, it's the ho-ho-ho number. It's holmium, the most magnetic element on the periodic table, and it's the 19th prime number. There it is at the very bottom, and of course, the 19th card in the tarot. The tarot cards from the devil. That's right, because the devil's the superstar. But no, make no mistake about it. Let's have some fun with this. It's the Sun card, the 19th card in the deck, matching the numerology of the theater that this Jesus Christ Superstar was first released. How about that? What do you think the odds would be? And were they sitting down with the tarot cards before they named the theater because they thought maybe there was going to be a play come out called Jesus Christ Superstar? That's absolutely ludicrous, and that's my dry humor, because that is ridiculous to think that. This reality that we're living in is completely scripted, ladies and gentlemen. Just have fun with it. Enjoy the ride. So this play opened up on October 12th, 1971. Now, I got a lot of stuff going on here. Let me narrate this. Just stick with my voice. October 12th to start off with. Here is the card of illumination. The typical poker deck cards. 52 cards in a deck matching the 52 weeks of the year. Solar lunar year. We're talking about the sun here. These have great relevance to our reality. So here's the October 12th card, the 10 clubs card. Of course, 10. 10 is the number of the binary system. The only number of its kind. It's an androgynous number, the 0 and the 1. And this play comes out with this card attached to it. It's the 23rd card in the deck, the natural lineages of the cards. And that's a direct match, of course, to the word crown in numerology. And you know, what did the Christ wear? The crown. It's known as the corona. That's the sun above our heads. So the Jesus Christ Superstar is the man, the Son of Man, and then you have the Jesus Christ as the solar aspect. So it's the as above, so below. And the 23rd letter in the English alphabet is the letter W. And the W, of course, is where you're going to get the triple crown from. And in my Jesus Christ Superstar Decoded Part 2 that I will be coming out with, I'll be showing in great lengths why this W is so significant and why it's tied to the crown. And of course, you know, the other words that are tied to the 23, if you've been paying attention, crown, blood, and history, all are linked to the 23. And keep in mind, 23 is the number in numerology called the Royal Star of the Lion. And if you link that to astrology, if you're a fan of astrology, what's the sign of the lion? Leo. And what's Leo the lion ruled over by? The freaking sun, of course. That is the lord of the fifth zodiac sign called Leo, the fifth one. And we're talking about the 23, the Royal Star of the Lion, tied to the star Regulus in the zodiac sign Leo. And then, of course, you get into our chromosomes. Yeah, absolutely. 23andMe. And then you double that, you get 46. You're going to get into the tree of life. And then at the very bottom here, this is the word sun, spelled out in the Hebrew, broken all the way down to the Hebrew ordinal. You can go even down further to a 343, which is going to give you the 666, telling you that's the beast. But for fun, this is what it is, the 55. And, you know, on the card itself, there's 5 clubs and 5 clubs, both right there back to back. And make no mistake about it, that is, of course, in correlation to this right here. And here's the last part of this slide right here. And I know a lot of you are going to probably jump on this to break down your birthday to see what you come up with. But here are the elements on the periodic table that are directly in correlation with this opening date of Jesus Christ Superstar, October 12th, 1971. So it's 10, which is neon, 12, which is magnesium, 19, which is potassium, and 71, which is one of Lucifer's elements, lutetium. And I mean, that should tell you the correlation between Jesus and Lucifer are one and the same. But there it is, 10/12/1971. And when you add up these 4 elements that are linked to this opening date of Jesus Christ Superstar in the 1970s, using the trusty calculator right here, you're going to get the number 257.882. And of course, that's a very special number because it's the frickin' 55th prime number. You see how directly scripted this reality is, that mankind could never, ever code this. And I'm going to keep saying that because it's just too deep, too many moving parts, and it just gets comical and ridiculous. Ridiculous. In the 55, you go right back up, there is the word son in the Hebrew, which is, of course, linked to the Yod He Vav, because that's linked to the Christ. It's all the same. The Tetragrammaton, the Son, Lucifer, it's all connected. No separation. So this 257 found from the four elements making up the opening date of this Jesus Christ Superstar play on Broadway in New York is tied to the 257, 55th prime. Here's the element that owns the 257, the average weight of fermium, which of course is the 100th element, which if you watched my first Prison Planet Decoded, I showed the element fermium has a few weights. 256 is the incarnation, reincarnation process of the human beings, the Homo sapiens, the prototypes. That is us, ladies and gentlemen. That's the joke. And it's the 100. If you've seen the show on the CW or Netflix called The 100, you'll have much more keys to your kingdom. And that leads me into this. I have this decode coming out soon. Say 10 decoded. Why say 10? Well, because the say 10 is the 55, because 55, when you add it up, is the 10, which is the opening day of this play, the 10 clubs, which is the crown. And the say 10, say 10, say 10, say 10. Well, the say 10, many of you know that, but how many fingers do you have? 10. So who's the devil in human form? That would be you. That would be me. We are the devil, ladies and gentlemen, in human form. So just be the best little devil you can be. That's all you got to do. You know, be a good person. But say 10 decoded coming out. I'm already having fun with it because it's ridiculous how this code is, man. It's comical. So here's the guy who sang in the Jesus Christ Superstar. He's Ian Gillan, and he's the lead singer of the great band Deep Purple. And if you know what the purple is, of course tied to gamma rays, it's just hilarious. I could have decoded Deep Purple, but I got so many more slides I want to show you of nature. This is just kind of the icing on the cake here, and this is how ridiculous the code is. So Ian Gillan was hired to sing, and he did sing on the album Jesus Christ Superstar, and there he is. And as fate would have it, what's his birthday? Well, it's in the sign of Leo in August. And it's not just any day, ladies and gentlemen. It's the freaking 19th, which goes right back to the sun card in the tarot being the 19th. See how ridiculous this code is? And you can see, you just got to have fun. Enjoy the ride. You're in it for the ride, man. That's it. So just have fun with it. Decode yourself. Figure out what your code is. Why are you here? So, you know, Ian is a Leo, and in the Chinese, it's the dragon. Absolutely, of course it is. So Leo, you Leos out there, tied to the Chinese and the dragon, the most revered animal in all of Chinese culture. And there it is, and it's a reference to the sun. The sun is the dragon is Leo the lion. So there you have it. And the 19 is a battery, of course. It's just comical. So here's the guy who starred as the Jesus Christ figure for the opening Broadway play Jesus Christ Superstar in 1971, Jeffrey Craig Fenholt. You know, he's passed on now. But here is his birthday, September 15th, 1950. And here's his birth card, the 9 clubs card, the 22nd card in the deck. How about that? Now, what's the 22 has to its ties to? Right here. It's the great dragon was hurled down, and then Michael fought the great dragon. Yeah, that was your spirit and soul tugging at you, pulling the strings. It's the angel and the demon that we all have up inside of us here as human beings. And this is just, again, more freaking humor of this matrix that we all live out. And this card right here has massive significance. I'm going to be showing that at the very end because it's tied to Christmas and the birth of the Christ. And going a step further is we have, of course, the dragon and Michael being tied to his birth card, and the dragonfly card in the medicine deck is the 27th card, and it's tied to the ace diamonds, which is a card of currency. The word currency equals the number 27. You see how funny and kind of just ridiculously humorous this is? That dragon's 22, which is the same match as Michael, and Michael battles the dragon, and the dragon is the 27, and it's this card right here, the ace diamonds card. And the funny part is, well, I shouldn't say funny, I take that back, because I want to give all the respect in the world to people's lives. But you see, this guy right here passed on September 10th, 2019, and this is the September 10th card, is the ace diamonds card. So he was born with the Christ, one of the Christ cards, Michael, and then he passed with the dragon card on September 10th, tied to the medicine deck. So you can clearly see, ladies and gentlemen, this code is absolutely scripted. All of our lives are scripted. All of our lives are predestined. And you're seeing this. This is support. Now, you don't have to believe in this. If you don't believe in all these modalities, well, then this is probably not for you. But I've been showing this now over and over, along with countless other decoders out there. And if you're watching this, you're a decoder. So I don't know why you wouldn't believe in this kind of stuff. This is absolute proof that this guy was being used to portray the Jesus Christ character, both the Michael and the dragon. The spirit and the ego. It's right there, folks. And if that wasn't kind of a nail in the coffin, perhaps maybe this will be it for you right here to finish this topic of Broadway. This guy right here, Jeffrey, was born in Columbus, Ohio. So, of course, I'm going to check the latitude, longitude of Columbus, Ohio. And, of course, as fate would have it, and it's part of the script and his reality, Columbus is at 39 degrees north and 82 degrees west. Of course, you should know 82. Anytime you see the 82, it means lead, turning lead into gold. It's tied to the words prison planet and the string of pi in 52. And this guy right here, his Columbus, Ohio coordinates, where he was born, 39 degrees north, is tied to this element right here called potassium, which has 19 freaking protons. 19 is linked once again to the sun. You see how comical this is, folks? This is ridiculous. This should prove with absolute certainty that our reality is emphatically scripted. This should prove to you right here, without a shadow of a doubt, this reality is scripted. Scripted, folks. And there is no escaping that. So let's get into the second topic. This one's going to be the longest of the three. And then the fourth one's what did you see? But the longest one of the three is this one right here, Superstar. So here is the Superstar. And of course, it's the sun. Now, I found this online, and I had gotten it off of somebody else's page. I think it was, his name is Tom. I don't remember. And whoever you are, thank you so very much. I had contacted him to ask him if it was his, and he said, no, he got it somewhere else. But I believe this to be authentic. I don't believe this to be any altered in any way. I believe these pictures are authentic. I've done my own searching to support this. I believe this is absolutely authentic. And this right here is the 12 months on the calendar, and it's a photo taken at sunrise on the same day of each month. So at the very top, right here, and you have a separation line on, this is December. So let me zoom in and show you. There it is, December. I don't know where these photographs were taken, what part of the world, but make no mistake about it, they are to what I believe to be authentic. So here's December, January, February, March, and so on and so forth. And you can clearly see that the sun starts to make a very distinct pattern in the sky. Very distinct. And it leads into this right here. If you've ever seen something like this before, then you have more keys to your kingdom. This is a very amazing video animation that I found on YouTube. I'm going to put the credits in the description if you want to watch the full-length version of it. Pretty awesome, and it shows these lights being started all at the same time and making the dragon sine wave, and that's why the sun is the dragon. Because of this right here. That is the pattern that it makes in the sky. That's why I know these photographs to be authentic. But what I wanted to point out to all of you is that at the very bottom, I had to add on another month of December. And this is where you're going to get the number 13. Because I don't believe it just ends at 12, because if you go ahead and just go with the 12 months, you don't have a complete rendition of this sine wave. At the very bottom, when you add the December on once again, and it's a repeater, December is the repeater, it actually forms a line across, and I'm going to be showing that to all of you. But what significance does this show us right here? Well, it separates the tropics. So that leads me into this question right here. Why, have you ever posed this question? Why are the tropics that are separated by the equator, why are they chosen as Cancer and Capricorn? Why is that the case? Why not two other zodiac signs? Why not Gemini and Sagittarius? Why not Taurus and Scorpio? Why not Aries and Libra? Well, I believe the answer lies in astrology. Here is the as above natal chart. Now, there are two charts, I believe. When you're reading charts as an astrologer, like I do anyway, I read both charts, the as above and the so below. And the so below, of course, is going to put Taurus over here where Pisces is at. It's going to be flipped, mirrored. And then Gemini's here, and then Cancer's here. Cancer and Capricorn switch spots. If you go study into the Masonic, the Royal Arch, you're going to see the first 7 astrology signs, Aries through Libra, and that's going to form the rainbow, the 7 colors of the rainbow. So this, I believe, to be the authentic version of the as above chart in astrology, and why we use the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, because here it is. Here is the separation of the two. It's Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. So what we have here is we have them switching spots. And the so below chart, of course, your chart would have Cancer at the bottom. And it may not even be there. Yours may be changed. But Cancer would be at the bottom, Capricorn by default in the so below chart would be at the top. So they are in both places. So the as above is saying that the sea goat, Capricorn, runs the dance floor in our charts, which is the motherboard, which is ruled over by Saturn. And then Cancer ruled over by the moon. So we're going to get into this hot and heavy now, folks. Are you ready? Because this information is going to blow you away. Most of you anyway. And here we go. So let's go on these sun's patterns, and I'm going to support how I believe this to be authentic, these pictures, these photographs. And I'm going to show you exactly why there are 13 months instead of just 12, even though there's 12. The 12 fit into the 13, the 13 fit into the 12, and then you get the Ophiuchus. But as you notice here, I have in the very dead center the number 6. And just to the right, all the way to the right here, is the month of June. So this right here, and this red line coming down, is the representation showing you where the sun is in the month of June. And again, I don't know if this is in the Tropic of Cancer or Tropic of Capricorn. If I had to guess, I'd say it was in the Tropic of Cancer in the North America areas. But I just don't know. So the June, of course, in the Tropic of Cancer represents our summertime. And of course, in the Tropic of Capricorn, all of you down in the southern areas, Australia, New Zealand, down those areas, you're going to be in your winter time. So it just flip-flops. And we get into the next 2 months, and I'm adding these lines on here because you'll notice that these 2 months, the sun is in the same position, right around there. May and July are pretty much in the same position on the horizon there. 57, 5 and 7. And then you go down and you go to the 4 and 8, which is April and August. And the sun is pretty much in that same position as well. You keep going, and then you have March and September, the 3 and the 9, which would be the equinox. And you have the sun in its matching position there. And then you would move into February and October, the 2 and the 10. And then the line that's in blue distinguishes where the sun kind of matches up on the horizon. And then going to January and November, the first month and the 11th month, once again, that sun lines up. But what we have now is we have a month that just doesn't line up. It doesn't have at the bottom here, there's no sun that matches up with it, just here in this position. So if I go back to January and November, you have November's sun right there and January's sun right there, and that line connects these 2 months on the horizon. But in December, we don't have that situation going on. Now, we don't have it in the month of June as well, but I'm going to show you why that is. But it's when we add one more December right there, and we bring it in, and then we add that line, and now we have a complete circuit. We have a complete circuit of the sun's pattern, which of course, if you start making this pattern, you're going to get that dragon wave, which I showed earlier, and that is the sine wave. The sun makes this pattern over the earth, and it makes the dragon wave. This clearly shows you the dragon wave, the S wave, the sine wave. That is primarily the reason why the sun starts with the letter S, because it makes this shape in the sky. It makes the letter S. That's kind of a no-brainer. And that's why Jesus is called the superstar, another S. Super is S, star is S. So clearly you can see when you look at nature, forget about all the ancient text and the books and what you learned on Sunday school or Sunday afternoon or what you learned from a pastor or rabbi. Forget all that stuff for a moment and just focus on nature, which of course in religion you're going to be like, that's pagan, which is the most absolute ludicrous thing I've ever heard in my life. No such thing. Of course, they label it as that, but if you want to have it kind of laugh, it's paganism is religion. It's the same thing. There's no separation. The sun is religion, folks. It's currency. The sun is currency. Religion is currency. We are currency. And this should show and prove and support the pattern of the sun matching up with the months. I got more, folks, but these are the 13 months. So I want to go back and show you one more time. There it is. These right here are the 12 months. I have them lined up here in their natural origins, how we normally have labeled December, of course, being 12, January being the number 1 month. And then, it goes all the way down to November being the 11th month. But if we don't add a 13 here, this pattern is not complete. I can't draw this line and connect the dot, but it's when we connect that extra December to form, it's like a repeater, December being a repeater, a connecting point. And there it is. There's the connecting point, December to December. And so, I have the 13 here because these are 13 months. So I know December is typically known as month number 12, but if I just reorder these and say December's number 1 and go all the way down, you're going to get December through December, which is going to give you 1 through 13. And this is, I feel, and I'm going to support this throughout this presentation, why the 13 is so significant. Those of you that know the esoteric should know how powerful the number 13 is, tied to Ophiuchus and the serpent bearer, because this is the serpent right here. This sun's pattern is the serpent, it is the dragon, it is the lion, it is the Christ, it is the Yod, it is Lucifer. It's all that wrapped up into one. All of it. And it's our DNA. The DNA pattern fits right over that pattern of the sun in the sky. That's how I know these photographs are authentic. They are authentic. This is the DNA, the double helix. Here's a darker image of it. There it is. This is what we are all made up of. So this clearly tells you that the sun is the as above beast and mankind is the so below beast. The sun is the 666 above and man is the 666 below through the element carbon. It should prove it. So there it is, December to December, connecting those 2 months. And we just move those lines, the connecting of November and January, and we just keep going. And I've put over here, I've overlaid these with the colors of the rainbow, because how very fitting that the 7 colors of the rainbow connect the 7 patterns of these 12/13 months. The red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet, and indigo. Right there. You can't mistake this now, ladies and gentlemen. These are definitives. This, to me, is absolute truths on the patterns and why the sun is the superstar and why the Christ is tied to it. And forget about whether he was a real dude or not. I'm not interested in that because there's no way to prove that. This is what we can use to show proof for these theoretical expressions, which now I don't even believe these to be theoretical. These are absolutes. And this just proves it with these lines connecting each of these 2 months, with the exception, of course, of the month of June right there. But of course, if I add another of these, complete 13, and I start it over again, you will have the month of June connecting to another month of June down here. And of course, it would be 66. And 66 is tied to the number 78, which is the tarot cards, and it just goes on and on and on, folks. So if that didn't blow your mind, if you're not like completely blown away right now, I got more to show you. So let's keep going. So here's the breakdown of these lines forming the rainbow. Of course, the sun makes the rainbows when it rains. So this is very fitting. And these are the chakra points of the sun as it moves through the sky. And these can be flip-flopped, by the way. I'm not saying that the violet here in December has to be in this position. The violet could be here. That represents the month of June. They can be flipped. This is just the way I laid them out. But here's the breakdown, the legend of these lines that correlate to the months through the calendar. No matter if it's Gregorian or the true solar lunar of 364, it does not matter because the numbers are going to encroach. 364 and 365 does not matter. So red is in June. June is the 6th month. Orange is May and July. Yellow is April and August. Green is March and September. Blue is October and February. Indigo is November and January, which is interesting because that forms the 111, and that's tied to our third eye. And then you have violet representing December. So ultimately, you have the 12 and the 6, even though there's a double 12 to form the complete circuit, and that's the 126, and we're going to get into that. I'm going to break that down. And here it is, ladies and gentlemen. When you separate the sun at its farthest away point on each end, and again, depends on which side of the equator you're going to be on. If you're in the south, in the Tropic of Capricorn, your wintertime will be in the month of June. If you're in the Tropic of Cancer, that will be your summertime. So they flip. They can exchange. I'm just using the colors for reference. But the month of June could indeed be the root chakra for those of us that are in for those of you that are in the Tropic of Capricorn, and then for those of you that are in the Tropic of Cancer in the North Americas and those areas and the European countries, and your crown would be in the color violet. And again, these can be flipped. The root can be here in December and the crown can be here in June. But these are the 2 points that are the farthest away from one another. It'll be in the month of December and the month of June. And we know that December is typically known as month number 12. June is typically known as month number 6. And so when we bring that together, we know that in the month of June, it's the Tropic of Cancer, and it is Cancer itself. June 6th is the zodiac sign Cancer. And December, I know it is Sagittarius, and June is a blend of Gemini and Cancer, but these typically in their highest fashions, December, Sagittarius/Capricorn, and June 6th would be Gemini/Cancer. So this is where you get your Cancer and Capricorn from. What I believe to be the reason why those were chosen to separate the equators is because these are the 2 points where the sun is on the horizon, and it's the complete opposite in its positioning as it produces a sine wave around the Earth. And I'm not going to get into the flat concave because in actuality, this model fits on both. And I'll be coming out with that on my upcoming part 2 on this. So this is just really kind of interesting right here. You have the month of June, which is the 6th month, the month of December, which is the 12th month. If you bring these two together, 12 and 6, you're going to get the number 126. And the 126 is 1/2 of the I am that I am. And the 53, of course, is tied to this character right here in Hebrew, which a lot of people think is the original spelling. It's Yeshua. And this is the number 53. I mean, folks, how else are we to explain something like this? When you get the original spelling in the Old Testament from the character known as Jesus or Yeshua. I don't even know if that's Joshua, right? But this is what it looks like in the Hebrew, and it's a 50-3, which is a match to the 2 points of the sun on the horizon, complete opposite of one another. December and June, right there in that pattern, undeniable. And that 126 is tied to iodine, the I am that I am. 53 is the 16th prime number, and there is the element that has that 33. Sulfur has many different isotopes. Its average is 32, but it does have the 33, which I feel is tied to the Christ. And there is the iodine and sulfur. And if you take 53 and 16 and you add it up, you're going to get the number 69, which is the yin yang. So this pattern, this S-shaped pattern, is going to give you the yin yang. It's going to give you good and bad cop right here. This sine wave, this dragon wave right here, will give you the good cop, bad cop because of the winter and the summer expressions. Contraction and expansion. Summertime is expansion. Winter is contraction, where it gets cold, which is why Christmas is labeled here in the Tropic of Cancer, right here in the month of December. And we're going to get into that in the last topic, the Christmas Kid. So there it is, folks, undeniable in my eyes. And here is the, once again, the tropics breaking it down. You in red and violet, and again, these can be flipped, but you have the Tropic of Cancer in the northern parts of the world, and then you have the Tropic of Capricorn in the southern parts of the world. And of course, again, in December, if you're hanging out in Australia, New Zealand, and south of Africa and South America, for the majority of it, it's your summertime. And it's our winter time in December here in the North Americas, the European nations and Asia and the majority of this area here. It's all Tropic of Cancer, and it just flips and it goes back and forth. And this is the very reason why I believe the tropics were named the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn, because of these positionings right here. I mean, it's pretty obvious that is the very reason why. And then you get the story of the Christ in these positions as well, because you see, when you just scrape away the months, We know that December is the 12th month and Cancer is the 6th month. June is the 6th month, excuse me. But you see, Jesus' story was he was born of a virgin, and the sign in the zodiac that is a virgin is Virgo, and Virgo is the 6th zodiac sign, the 6th one, which puts you right here, which is in the month of June. So June is the 6th month, but Virgo is the 6th zodiac sign. So they fit right in here, even though June is Cancer. And then we know Jesus was a fisher of men, which is the 12th sign of Pisces, and the 12th month is December, which is Sagittarius / Capricorn. But when you scrape away those months, you realize that just using the zodiac signs, you now have the Christ story right here, and they are the complete opposites. Born of a virgin, number 6, fisher of men, number 12, Pisces. And there you get your 126 right there. And you get the points of the sun at its most farthest points away from one another in the tropics. And this is undeniable, folks, right here. This is true nature, scraping away any of the BS that we were taught. And I shouldn't even say it's BS, it's just the stuff that we were taught. So here are the 4 points, the solstices and the equinox, and the beginning of winter up in the Tropic of Cancer, the northern parts of the equator. It begins in Sagittarius. And then you go down to spring, and it starts in Aries, March 21st. Notice they're all in the number 21, tied to the world card, because it's got the 4 faces on there in the tarot. Then you get the start of summer, Cancer, and then the fall, which is Virgo, September 21st. And just remember that in the Tropic of Capricorn, this would be your winter. And then in the Tropic of Capricorn, this would be your summer. So it's flipped. And that's why this sun's patterns right here, when it completes a full 13 patterned cycle right here, not 12, but 13, it gives you that zigzag, that sine wave, and it shows you the separation between the equators and the Tropic of Cancer and Tropic of Capricorn. And this is the very reason why. Make no mistake about it. Now, Jesus typically is a lot of times pointing to his heart. And there's a lot of stories that surround that. Well, why is that? A lot of people say, well, it means love. You got to just live your life with love. Well, of course, love is the default, and love always wins. We know that when the game is started back over again, it is going to be unblemished. It goes back to the golden age, which of course is the sun. So there is some prominence to that. But let me show you through this pattern and the sun why that is. Because you see, this right here is the big takeaway for this entire why Jesus points at his heart. Because remember, in the Tropic of Cancer, it's the beginning of summertime, which is expansion. In the Tropic of Cancer, those of us in the North Americas, in Europe, June 21st is the marking of the beginning of summer, expansion. The sun reaches its pinnacle, or the start of its pinnacle. And this is in the sign of Cancer. This is in the sign of Cancer. Cancer is tied to zodiac sign number 4. Cancer is number 4. So now we have a few different numbering pieces here that we need to go over to make all sense of this, if I haven't confused you already. I want to digress and show you this right here. This is the 13 months. Forget about December being number 12. I started December at number 1, and I have moved it all the way in and ended it at 13. It starts over again, and this is where you're going to get your 13 months from right here. And of course, the points of first, middle, and last are right there. Now, we could say it starts over at 1, and I'm going to be showing that. So you have your winter solstice, summer solstice, and then back to the winter solstice again. So the points of the sun are the farthest away from one another with these 3 points. And then you have your trinity there as well. Cancer is in the month of June, right here. Cancer is in the month of June. Cancer is the 4th zodiac sign. And the 4th chakra in the Vedic system is the heart. And this is why I feel Jesus points to the heart, because this is the representation of the heart right there. And it comes on the summer solstice in the Tropic of Cancer. In the Tropic of Capricorn, it's going to be your winter. It's going to be the opposite. And of course, what rules over Cancer? The moon. And what does the moon run? The emotions tied to our hearts, tied to the heart chakra. So this is a great rendition of what I feel to be the most accurate when you're looking at the sun's pattern and why Jesus points to his heart so very often in the renditions of the Christ itself. So now let's get into the last topic, the third topic. If that didn't, I hope that this right here explains exactly the patterns and the sun, and you're absolutely convinced that this is the patterns of the sun, folks. And this is authentic. And these are showing it and supporting it of why. And, you know, I mean, it's number 7, but it's tied to the number 4. And you get the 47 or the 74. And there's so many different ways to look at it. But let's get into the Christmas kid, because, you know, going back to this right here, this is the beginning of winter in the Tropic of Cancer. It starts in Sagittarius, not Capricorn. December 25th was the date chosen for Christmas. Why that is, I'm going to show you. I'm going to show you that. Christmas kid, here we go. So this is what I originally was going to call this decode because of all the correlations to the holiday known as Christmas. And this is a short topic. But let me show you the support for the sun's pattern once again using the cards of illumination. We're going to get into the Christmas aspect in just a minute. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, the beginning of the winter solstice in the Tropic of Cancer is in the sign of Sagittarius, December 21st. In the Tropic of Capricorn, it'll be your winter. December 21st is the 10 hearts card. Say 10. Say 10. And then the midway point is in Cancer, which is the summer solstice in the Tropic of Cancer, winter solstice in the Tropic of Capricorn. And that is June 21st, which is the 9 clubs card. Remember the guy who played Jesus Christ Superstar? Remember that guy? Remember what his birth card was? 9 clubs. Now you know why. Because it's tied to the winter summer solstice, depending on where you're at on the equator, or depending on what tropic you're at. And then it just repeats. So here it is, Sagittarius, December 21st. So you have a 10, 9, 10. If you eliminate one of these 10s, you have 19. 19 is the sun card. But you have a 10, 9, 10 to form that complete circuit. Now I've rearranged the numbers, starting with 1. And this is where those of you that are septenary fans, I'm going to show you the significance of why the septenary has so much relevance in nature's patterns of the sun. And this is where knowing the value of these ciphers come into play. So here it is, the separation of the sun's patterns, the farthest away from one another. It's the 1, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it's going to go 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. This is going to be the septenary right there, forming the number 13, giving us the cards. And then you break down the cards and their numbers, and you're going to get the 10, card 22, Going back to card 10 again to show you that dragon's wave. If you take 10 plus 22 plus 10, get out your calculators, you're going to get the number 42. 42, which of course is tied to the element molybdenum, which means lead. This is a number anagram of 79. 79 is gold. This should tell you loud and clear. We are the Sobolo of the sun. We are the puppet on strings. We are the sun in mankind form. Life, the universe, everything. Right from the cards. The patterns of the 171. And then you get into the elements on the periodic table. If you weren't convinced there, of course, this is the 10th card. That would be linked to this element neon. Neon has an atomic weight of 19. 19 is the sun card. Then you get into the midway point, the 9 clubs, 22nd card in the deck, titanium, tied to the fallen angel story, Saturn's moon, Titan. Right there. You can't mistake this, folks. And then going right back to that neon again. And when you add up those 3 elements forming that sine wave of the sun, using the trusty calculator, here it is. Pure math now, folks. Pure math. Scraping away everything that we feel is this and that. Pure math. You're going to get 87.932. You might think, well, what does that got linked to? Well, when you add up the 87 and the 932, you're going to get the number 1019. And there's your 119 or 911. And more importantly, this is the big takeaway for the ending of this presentation, near the end of this presentation, because this number is the 171st prime number, which is right there, folks. And this is pure math. This is not me fudging anything. This is not me trying to fit a square peg in a round hole. This is absolutely pure precision with mathematics and alchemy. It's the 171. Here's the septenary numerology cipher. I brought this in to show you why the septenary has so much to do with the sun's pattern. Those of you that are the septenary fans. And if you want to pause the video and take a look at this a little bit deeper, you'll notice that, I have the 1 through 7 back down to 1 again. There's the 171. I have the 171 right there. Coming from this right there, coming from this right there. And where do we get that from? The alchemical elements from the cards of illumination tied to the dates chosen on the calendar to represent the winter and summer solstices through the tropics. The 171, folks, making that S sine wave, the dragon wave. See, folks, you can't make this up. This is real deal, mathematically precise information. Right here. And when you lay out the septenary system, just like it is right here, you're going to get the full alphabet right here, and you'll notice that in the middle, representing the number 7, is the M and the N, and they both are the number 1, which is the 11. And on the ends, representing the 1, and the Z is the 1, you get the 1111, which is an 1111 if you want to get really technical about it. So this is mathematically precision right here. Mathematically precise, I should say. Not fudging anything, folks. Our sun forms the S sine wave, which is the dragon wave, which is where you get Michael and the dragon battling, because it's going from the Tropic of Cancer to Capricorn. It's from the cold to heat, expansion, contraction. That's exactly the way this reality works. And going a step further, I think I have a few more slides. This is where the sun god Ra fits into all of this. In case if any of you have any doubts, because Jesus is Ra, Ra is Jesus, Ra is the Tetragrammaton, the Yod He Vah He, Lucifer, all the same character, all of it. There is no separation. When you take the words 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, which is right here, using the septenary, the sun's pattern in its single digit format, you get the number 228. And of course, what element has an atomic weight of 228? Well, of course, it's radium, which is the raw element. It's right there, staring you in the face, ladies and gentlemen. This should prove to you, without a shadow of a doubt, that we are ruled over by the sun. And if you really want to be tit for tat, it would be Ra that has seniority over any other deity, including the Tetragrammaton, because Ra, through the ancient text, came first. So here's some more information I think I have. Yeah, these are my last 3 slides right here, folks. And this is going to get into and why I named this the Christmas Kid, because here is the date chosen for Christmas all over the world, celebrated and revered. So what you're doing is you're worshiping the sun, is what you're doing. And we're told that the Christ was born on December 25th. And here's the very reason why I felt like this day was chosen. Because remember, the winter solstice is not December 25th. It's December 21st, which is in Sagittarius, not Capricorn. But, of course, to match it up with the tropics, this is probably why they chose the 25th. Here's what the cards have to say about that. December 25th, Christmas Day, is this card right here. The 6 Hearts card, which is a fire card. There's subtly the 33 right there. 33. And this is the 6th card in the deck. And then the opposite card of that in June, where we get the summer solstice, June 21st, the winter in the Tropic of Capricorn. Here is that card. Once again, I showed that, the birthday of the guy who played the Jesus Christ Superstar. The 9 clubs card, it's the 22nd card in the deck, tied to the fallen angels and the titanium. Well, it's tied to this word right there, Michael. What do you think the odds would be that the Archangel Michael, otherwise known as Jesus, is tied to the sun at its ending point in this S sine wave pattern? And there it is. December to June is 126. And these 2 cards added up together give you the 96 or the 69, which is the yin yang. Primarily why I feel that December 25th is the day chosen for supposedly the birth of the Christ. And now you know, ladies and gentlemen, that the sun, forget about all the propaganda and the stories and all that stuff. We know we can't prove any of that. But this is what we can prove. Nature. And this should show without a shadow of a doubt the patterns of nature and the sun and what the superstar is. It's the sun, the boss, the architect. And there are the 2 cards together. And when you add these 2 cards up, forget about the 96 and 69, you clearly can see this is the yin yang or the 69. But the 22 plus 6 is going to give you the number 28. Where does the number 28 appear in the string of pi? Oh, just the 33rd decimal digit in the string of pi. 33 and 34, which of course is the number 67. 67 is the 19th prime number, which is the sun card as well. But this is very fitting and clear. You can see the death of the Christ. It's all right there, folks, in pure mathematical equations, tied to mystical art platforms, the cards of illumination, tied to ancient esoteric information, tied to the calendar. But make no mistake about it, ladies and gentlemen, this is the real deal right here. And this should prove to you once and for all that the story of the Christ is from the sun. And last but not least, here are the days in between the summer solstice and the winter solstice. June 21st. Well, I should say the winter or the summer solstice and the winter solstice, for depending on which tropic you're in, to June 21st, and then the day of Christmas itself. Here it is. Excuse me for that. June 21st to December 25th. How many days in between on the calendar? Counting each day is 188. And where does 188 appear in the string of pi? Oh, just the 471st decimal digit. Folks, if you've been following this great research, what is the 471 tied to? Lucifer. The numbers of Lucifer are the 741, 471, 174, whatever. It doesn't matter. But that's according to Manly P. Hall, the great Freemason. Now, of course, if you don't believe that, but make no mistake about it, if you watched my decodes on the 42 Decoded, the sun is the left-hand side of your dial pad, the 147. Those numbers are the sun. And there it is. This should prove to you right here. All mathematically precise. Not trying to fudge anything. And this is the Christmas kid and the very reason why. So when you get out there and start celebrating Christmas, you're worshiping the sun. It's exactly what it means. If you put your pledge in the Bible, you're worshiping the sun. So it doesn't matter. It's all linking to the sun's getting the energy. The sun is going to get the energy. So what did you see during this presentation? I hope that you got a lot out of this. Some of you probably have to watch this a few times because of, the Tropic of Cancer, Tropic of Capricorn, and both of those tropics having their summer and winter, and the sun's pattern moving and zigzagging over the earth or around whatever. Round, flat, concave. The model works on all the models. And all I can tell you, and you can clearly see, the sun moves in a dragon sine wave format. And that's absolutely, emphatically undeniable. So what did you see during this presentation? Love to hear your comments. I do have part 2 coming out because it's going to be based more heavily steeped in the number 13. Anyway, folks, that's all I got for today. My name is Logan. This is Decode Your Reality. I thank each and every one of you for your donations, your Patreon, your support. Those of you that are interested in readings, send me an email, decodeyourreality@gmail.com, and I'll try to fit you in. All right, folks, until next time, we will see you later.